From CBS News Bay Area, this is the Morning Edition.
And welcome on in. This morning, we begin with breaking news out of the East Bay. A magnitude 4.3 earthquake shook thousands awake just before 3 a.m.
The epicenter right near UC Berkeley, just along the Hayward Fault. Let's get right into it with meteorologist Jessica Birch. Jess, tell us all about it.
Lots to talk about this morning along the Hayward Fault line. We all know it's an active fault line, and we woke up this morning to a 4.3 at 2:56. There's been aftershocks since then. The USGS has reported there's about a 26% chance as of now that we'll see anything greater than a 3.0, but we could still see some smaller ones. Don't be shocked throughout the afternoon hours today if there's small little rumbles, but that 4.3 woke up many of us, and there's lots to break apart with this. So I'm going to head over to the map. I want to show you where the epicenter was. We head all the way over into places like Berkeley, where they dealt with some of the strongest rumbles. There's been no major damage reported, and there's also been no injuries reported as of now. But of course, here at CBS, KPIX Bay Area, we're going to continue to keep you updated as we head into the next couple hours, as many of us are now waking up to get ready for the first day back to school and work after a beautiful weekend. Now, that 4.3 magnitude earthquake, if you're just tuning in now, the epicenter was over near Berkeley, and there's a lot to talk about with this system specifically, or with this earthquake specifically. It was along the Hayward Fault line. And I want to pull up a couple things when it comes to that fault line. You take a look behind me. We monitor a lot of them. The San Andreas, of course, that runs just along the peninsula. But as we head over into the Hayward Fault line, there is a lot of activity with this one. There's been some small aftershocks since then. Let's see if we could zoom in. There's lots to talk about with this. There was a 26% chance that we could see stronger than a 3.0, as mentioned. Another thing with this, too, the USGS, we keep a close eye on what they have to say. This was definitely one to wake us up and remind us that there could be stronger. There's a 75% chance just within the next 50 years alone, 150 years actually, that we could see something stronger, closer to a 6.7. But this morning, it was a 4.3. And I'm actually going to drop this map. Let's actually head back over here real fast. Other things to mention, too, a lot of people asked, is there going to be a tsunami threat with this? Well, there's some good news with this earthquake. One, it was on land. It was about 7.3 kilometers below the Earth's surface, which is actually pretty common for California earthquakes. And it's pretty shallow, too. So because it was a shallow earthquake, because it was on land, and it wasn't in a subduction zone, there's no threat when it comes to tsunami warnings this morning. Other things to mention, though, we could still see some aftershocks. We've seen some reported so far from just local areas close to this epicenter. Another thing to mention, too, the Did You Feel It map? Well, we saw some chances of seeing it anywhere from the Sacramento Valley all the way back to the Bay Area. Places from Santa Rosa all the way down into Santa Cruz, they felt it. You push all the way into those inland areas closer to Stockton up into Sacramento, they definitely felt some rumbling, too. The epicenter was, if you're just tuning in now, here we go. The epicenter was just to the east of Berkeley at 2:56 this morning. And we've seen little aftershocks just south of it and off closer to that Hayward Fault line too, but this one's pretty much directly on it. Some things to mention with this earthquake, a 4.3, originally a 4.6, by the way, it got downgraded a little bit. We get about 10,000 of those a year globally. So this is pretty frequent. The energy equivalent, well, it's about 33,000 pounds of explosives. So that definitely rumbled a lot of us. Like I said, it was a shallow earthquake too. So because it was closer to the Earth's surface, that's the reason why so many of us actually felt that rumbling. So like I said, that Did You Feel It map, it stretches from Santa Rosa all the way down to Santa Cruz and off into the Sacramento Valley too. There haven't been any major reports of damage, no injuries reported as of now, but we're going to keep a close eye on that. And I'm actually going to send it over to you, Gianna, to talk more about this earthquake that shook thousands of us this morning. Back to you.
It sure did, Jessica. I know I felt it along the coast and kind of rattled me out of bed as well. And I know a lot of people just hopping on social media felt it and heard it also at about 2:56 this morning, as Jessica just mentioned, right before 3 a.m. And again, getting us all up early this morning, Max.
It sure did. That jolt waking up so many people. It rattled homes, toppled small items in shops and homes and places like that, and definitely startled a lot of pets. But again, no reports of any major damage or injuries so far.
Yeah, we've got some video actually to show you right now, too, that the impact of this early morning quake, which was in Berkeley, that's where it was centered. It shook shelves, sent products crashing to the floor there. These are from shops along 4th Street in Berkeley.
And let's now get over to Veronica Macias live. She is in Berkeley at the epicenter of this quake with more on how the community is reacting to this and how people really woke up to this quake. Veronica, what have you learned so far?
Good morning. Well, here in California, this earthquake really a reminder of how we should have a plan in place. We've seen the notification from police here in Berkeley letting people know to take cover. There is the possibility here of aftershocks. And we are talking to students this morning, some people not even asleep, but just awake when this earthquake happened close to 3 a.m. I have Kobe joining me this morning. Kobe, come over here. Tell us what you felt this morning. This is your first earthquake being felt for you. You're from China. You're a freshman here at UC Berkeley. What was going on when the shaking happened?
Yes, it was my first time to feel an earthquake. I was from China and I was awake playing with my phone this morning, but I suddenly the earthquake came and I was completely frightened and didn't have time to think about what I should do. So I just, based on my instinct, just ran out of my room. But luckily the earthquake ends within 3 seconds or 5, so I was safe and that was very fortunate. I was really scared though.
I know. I feel like I could hear it. So scared that you couldn't go back to sleep. So tell us what you did next. You're on campus for a reason here.
Yeah, actually I tried to sleep on my bed for 10 minutes, but I decided I would just rather go to the library and do some homework because I really couldn't get to sleep after the earthquake.
I'm sure a lot of people are feeling the same way. I remember being, a child in my parents' home when Northridge happened. And it was one of those things is like, how do you go back to bed after something like that? So in China, you're saying you also have a lot of preparation for earthquakes and you guys go through drills at school as well.
Yeah, in primary school, we had a lot of drills. We are supposed to protect ourselves under desks, and after that, in order to prepare for aftershocks, we need to go down the building and find a safe place. But when the earthquake actually came, I didn't think about anything I was taught. It was just so scary.
I know it's hard, right, to
Yeah.
program that in our minds. Kobe, thank you for talking to us this morning. And hey, welcome to California. Now you've been initially here, you probably heard about all the earthquakes we have, and now you finally got to feel one for yourself. Thanks for joining us this morning. So yeah, I guess the reminder this morning for Kobe is that, we hear all the time is be prepared, have a plan so that when it does happen, you know how to take action and we're safe here in our community. So we do have the possibility of those aftershocks, hoping we don't have them. Not a way you want to wake up at 3 a.m., right, guys?
Truly a rite of passage for anybody new to the Bay Area. Veronica, thank you for that. And again, we're grateful that this was not the big one as that first one for so many people waking up this morning.
Yeah, no major injuries or damage, which is good news right now. But again, living in California, it's just what we're used to. All right, Veronica, we'll check in with you in just a little bit. But of course, we are keeping an eye on the freeways and bridges and, of course, public transit. Bart posted this on social media earlier this morning about the earthquake. It occurred within the area that services Bart. Trains are running at reduced speeds while we complete safety track inspections. So please expect residual delays of up to about 20 minutes system-wide. So if you typically take BART this morning, trains started about 5 in the morning. So the earthquake happened well before the morning commute was underway. But now that people are getting up and adamant out the door, they're probably either just hearing this information,
Sure,
unless they were jolted out of bed like we were this morning. So let's bring in Dr. Angie Lux with the Berkeley Seismological Laboratory to chat with us this morning about the earthquake. Dr. Lux, thank you for joining us. First off, it was first reported as a 4.6 magnitude. It's now been downgraded to a 4.3. So now we're all a little bit on edge about aftershocks.
Yes, that's right. So as you mentioned, it was a 4.3 in Berkeley this morning, a very typical Bay Area earthquake. But there is a chance of aftershocks following this earthquake. So people should definitely be prepared for those.
When we talk about a typical Bay Area earthquake, one of the reasons people felt it was because of the depth, correct?
That's right. So this earthquake was at just about 7-8 kilometers deep, which again is very standard for a California earthquake. But being a little bit closer to the surface, this magnitude 4.3 was pretty widely felt throughout the Bay Area.
Now, we know it's very hard to predict earthquakes, obviously, but, our reporter was just talking to someone who just moved to California from China, and, maybe they don't have the My Shakes app yet to sort of give them that alert and that warning. Tell us a little bit about how important it is to have that, and did that initiate anywhere in that area near Berkeley?
Yes, so the earthquake early warning system did activate this morning. The Shake Alert system did activate, and it did create a great magnitude and location estimate for this event very quickly. And because of that, we were able to push out that alert to cell phones via the My Shake app. And again, I would highly recommend that anyone who hasn't done so already download that app, because it can give you sometimes not a lot of warning, maybe just a second or two, but it can give you warning that an earthquake has started and that you're about to feel shaking.
And Dr. Lux, with that early warning system, 5-10 seconds may not seem like a lot, but why is that so critical that people get that just quick amount of lead time on this?
Even just a small amount of warning can give you time to prepare yourself, so you can drop cover and hold on, and you know that that earthquake has started and you're about to feel the shaking.
Yeah, something we all need to think about living here in California. Dr. Lux, thank you so much for joining us this morning. And of course, this makes us think it's always important to be prepared. Any tips that you have for anyone?
I would say make sure that you have an earthquake safety kit with water, have a plan in place, know what you're going to do when that big earthquake happens.
Okay, well, to that point, so what should you do when an earthquake hits? Well, the California Office of Emergency Services has this advice right here. Drop, cover, and hold if you feel shaking or if you get an alert that we were just talking about. Coming up, we're going to take a look at what you should do or have in your emergency to go bag, which is something everyone should start thinking about. It's always a good reminder, Max.
Always is when something like this happens, and we're grateful again that this is not the one where you needed it in those kinds of situations. Dr. Lux, if you're still with us, thank you so much for the expertise this morning. And for all of you at home, we will continue to follow this breaking story on this 4.3 magnitude earthquake that struck in the East Bay and bring you any major developments on air, streaming on CBS News Bay Area and as well as KPIX.com.